Some very good groundies in just under 1 hour. Very few of Monica's matches. She played 5 in Canada, 2 already here. Only 1 has gone longer than an hour. And you can just tell by her demeanor, the reaction on her face, just how happy she is to be in a place she's so familiar with here at the US Open. She's won this twice.
And now we're going to go out to court 16.
Monica Seles. Any chance for the young Japanese girl?
Well, a lot of people have not heard of Yone Kamio from Japan, but she has improved a great deal from last year. Last year, she was ranked in the 80s. This year, she's at a career high, number 28. So she'll be a tough competitor. She'll be a very good match for Monica Seles. She's good off the ground. She's very solid. She plays very much like some other Japanese players, and they're tough. So I think Monica's got quite a test ahead of her.
You're going to give us a bet on the unders and overs, whether it's going to be under an hour or over an hour?
Not one match has, actually one match in the last 6 or 7 that Monica has played, including Toronto, only one is made over an hour. So I'm thinking this might be a little bit over 1 hour.
You're going to go for the overs, Betsy. That's a bit of a surprise. I think it's going to be under an hour, but just let's have a look now at the return of Monica Seles to tennis.
When Monica took the court to play Martina Navratilova last month, she said she missed the roar of the crowd, the adulation. But most of all, she simply missed tennis. 2.5 years earlier, Hamburg, Germany, Monica's life changed forever. At 16, innocence and youth were hers. She had come so far, so fast. Monica said she admired Suzanne Langland. Many thought she would put glamour back into the women's game. And she even dreamed of becoming a movie star by the age of 25. The maniacal act left Monica a recluse. More tragic and Garbo-like than anything else. There was a brief public appearance in 1993. But cynics sneered that it was simply a ploy to whet the appetite for more. You see, Monica had taken the tennis world by storm, winning 8 Grand Slam titles between the ages of 16 and 19. But there was one trophy missing from her shelf. She had skipped Wimbledon in 1991.
It's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
So the question looms, what if? The Monica-Steffi Graf rivalry was just heating up when Seles left the game that fateful day. In 1992, Monica won 3 of 4 Grand Slams. She was clearly the world's #1 player and played the year's most memorable match, beating Steffi Graf 10-8 in the 3rd at Roland Garros. 1 month later, Graf destroyed Monica at Wimbledon, and competitive levels were reaching a new high in women's tennis. This, however, seemed all very trite compared to Monica's lost 2 years. Now the world is behind her, and we take great joy in hearing that impish giggle.
Oh, you speak a little French?
Just a little bit.
Je m'appelle. Here, let me try a little something on you here.
Oh, no.
Here, ready? Here. Je m'appelle Kenny.
Okay. Je m'appelle Monica.
Je suis glace essuie.
Okay. Oui, no.
You know what that is?
Do you like sweets?
No, I think I said I'm a windshield wiper.
On the court, she's no longer a girl, but a woman, and one with a powerful serve. To paraphrase Martina, she still hits the heck out of the ball. In her only real tournament since her comeback, she never came close to losing a set. It seems remarkable, but a US Open championship is already being predicted.
I wasn't sure if I would be back and playing tennis again. And there's so many emotions here from the first day till the last day. And it's just amazing. I can't believe that this is real. Oh, boy.
A pretty emotional Monica Seles there, Betsy, and I know you've had a lot to do with it. You're a very close friend with Monica, and it's great to have her back. But as she said, she was ready as far as the physical part of it to come back in about a month after that accident. But it's the mental attitude that's been very difficult for her.
Yeah, I think she really did struggle with that, and there were many dark moments, I think, for Monica, certainly in the first several months. But she is back again. She is out here for round number 3 on the stadium court, serving the first game of the match at 30-15.
40-15.
She's up against one of the many talented Japanese players in the draw.
The knee there, Betsy, she's had a few twinges and was a little bit worried about it going into the tournament. Has the bandage there as she wins the opening game. Is that something that's going to bother her?
Well, to my mind, that was always going to be her biggest opponent, was her body. Just trying to stand up to the grind of matches, something Monica hasn't done in 2.5 years. She's had some very acute tendonitis, and it does come and go. This sleeve is something that she has not been wearing in matches, but has been wearing in practice. And the fact that she has it on today just indicates that she's having a day that I think she's in some pain. This helps, it keeps it warm, but you know, that's my question for her. How's she going to hold up?
She's also grown up, Betsy, but as you said, how are you going to hold up over 2 weeks at the US Open? And I don't need to be. She has put on a little bit of weight around the middle. She's grown a few inches, and she says, but she's going to lose that as she gets to be match fit, because she's only really come in and played 3 or 4 matches. And I think if she can get through a few here, you mentioned nothing's been played over an hour so far. So if she can do that, then the physical part of it shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Well, that's what she's certainly hoping. I mean, she knew she had to get one tournament played before coming into the U.S. Open, so she did play it in Toronto. She would have loved to have played another one, but her knee didn't really allow it. She knew that she couldn't play a lot of consecutive tournaments coming up into the Open, and so she's just happy to be playing, and I don't think she's expecting a tremendous amount from herself, but already she's proven that her skills are right back where they were when she was forced to leave the game.
Yone Kamio, who is out there on center court 4, I'm sure, for the first time in her career at the US Open. She's won about $85,000 this year. She's 23 years of age.
15.
And as you mentioned, has got herself up in the rankings. Her 95 win-loss record is 22-9, so she's won quite a few matches, but whether she's going to be much of a contest for Seles here, I think she's going to be very nervous out there on stadium court. Nico Date, Soamatsu, this young lady, they're all pretty much all baseliners, aren't they? Good stroke because they're not very tall ladies, and they just get there and bang it from both sides from the baseline.
Yes, they all play very similarly. They believe in conformity. There's not a lot of individualism in Japan. Just missing there. But the fact that Kamiko Date has had such a good year, a couple of years, it's really inspired a lot of the other Japanese players. There were 8 Japanese women in the main draw.
That's terrific.
Of the U.S. Open this year, and that's more than any other year. In fact, 5 years ago, there was only 1 player in the main draw. It's too tough from Seles there. You can see she's forcing herself to take the ball as early as she can, trying to rob her opponent of time. And Seles sees that she has her opponent pushed back behind the baseline and continues to move forward. Seles is so good at taking the ball right off the ground. She takes it so early. She has such excellent timing.
And creates unbelievable angles with that, particularly 2 fists off both sides. And that's what made her great before she was put out of the tour for a couple of years. Well, that's a good shot. Good rally, so she's pretty happy with that one.
13-14.
And Kamio, when she gets a chance, you can see her hugging the baseline. She's going to try to take the ball early as well. You need excellent footwork to get behind the ball when Seles is the opponent.
She's got a strapped up left thigh, or just tape on the inside of the left thigh. A lot of the Japanese players, whether oh, bad luck, a double fault there. So that's the opening service game from Kamio gone, and Seles leads 2-love. I don't know whether they get acupuncture or that's a bit, because they don't sort of tape it all the way around the leg. They'll just put a piece of tape up over just an area of the leg.
Yeah, I mean,
or the arm.
They do spend a lot of time with doctors that come, and especially to the Grand Slam events, the Japanese. Kamiko Date, I remember last year, was getting acupuncture needles in her arm, and then she put pieces of tape over that. There are 5 Japanese women inside the top 40 currently, and that's such a testament to the Japanese system and how much they have ascended up the rankings in the last few years. 10 years ago, there was 1 player in the main draw.
Well, there was
this
a
year,
time.
there are 8.
I went over there many years ago to do a forum on with the USPTA, teaching professionals, and they said the reason they didn't have champions over there, they didn't feel they were tall enough or strong enough. And I said, well, I'll give you a couple of little guys like Laver or Rosewell, you know, 5'8", 5'9", and you know, and I'll give you a couple of big guys like Victor Amaya or Stan Smith. Who do you want? And so they have got their program, and it's a very successful program out there, and boy, they work at it.
They really do. They're so disciplined.
40-15.
Monica just applauding another winner from Kamio. She also can create some very good angle. You can see being low to the ground, her balance is excellent. She takes the ball early. Wrong foot, Seles.
Does that mean Monica's going to come back with a new personality and applaud some of the winners that's hit against her?
She's been doing that consistently now.
Well, that's good. That's good play.
I was just going to say, not that there have been many winners hit against Seles, but here are 2 in a row from Kamio, who can't resist a smile after this winner. They both play so similarly. They hit the ball very hard. The trajectory is very low across the net.
Both inside the baseline most of the time.
This has been Kamio's best year in the Grand Slams. Got to the 3rd round at the French Open.
Game point now to Seles. Reached the 3rd round of the Australian Open as well. 3rd round of Wimbledon. So Seles holds. It's 3 games to love. First set. Well, whilst the stadium is packed here for this women's singles match, out on court 20, Philippoussis and Rafter are through. They beat Bernard and Randall in that doubles match 6-4, 6-2. A good win for the boys, and they're a solid doubles combination nowadays, Philippoussis and Rafter. Very dangerous. Welcome back on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Our live coverage here from the National Tennis Center, Flushing Meadow, New York. The Big Apple, Monica Seles. That's the story of the year. As far as coming back, playing tennis again, has not lost a match since returning to the tour. Just played the 1 tournament in Canada, won it very easily. And it's 3 games to love here, love 15. I'm Fred Stolle along with Betsy Nagelson. Hope you're enjoying our coverage here this year from the US Open. We're with you right through to the finals in the men's singles. That's Sunday week. Super Saturday. Next Saturday is the 2 semifinals in the men's division, plus the ladies singles final.
15.
And I'm going to predict that Seles is there, and I'm going to predict that she wins it.
I'm right with you on that. I really felt that she could do that. My question for her and concern really was her conditioning.
30-15.
She has been through so much. Showed up in Toronto, and they had to increase the size of the press room for the masses that showed up to report her first event in 2.5 years.
They had record crowds up there at the Canadian Open. They had a good field before Seles decided to play, but that field sort of fell away when Steffi Graf lost first round to Amanda Kutzer, and then Arantxa Sanchez Vicario lost. Gabby Sabatini lost.
Mary Pierce, Yana Novotná. They had 7 of the top 10 there, and they all lost, and those that were in Monica's path never faced her.
40-15 and a double fault. Chance to get on the board here for Yone Kamio. I know I'm going to get that name wrong before this is finished. Oh, there it is. All smiles. Kamio is on the board. Breathes a sigh of relief, saying, hey, boy, this is going back to Japan, I'm sure. Seles against Kamio. And she wants to make a fight of it. Oh, that's terrific.
15.
Just missed.
Good speed from Kamio. I remember last year at Wimbledon, after Lori McNeil had beaten Steffi Graf in the first round on the center court, it was Kamio who played Lori 2 days later out on court number 2, the Graveyard Court, and Lori almost went down to Kamio. It was a very, very tight match, which McNeil won in 3 sets. But Kamio showed there and then her determination, her speed, her grit, very much like the other Japanese players. Very clever players.
15-all.
It's hard to chase down that kind of pace. We talked about how the other players have started to hit the ball much harder because Monica Seles taught them how to do that. But still, I don't think there's anyone that consistently hits the ball as close to the lines as often and as hard as Seles does.
I think Seles has got a pretty good draw here too, Betsy, as far as I'm concerned. I feel the only threat you're talking about her fitness would be something like Sanchez Vicario, who could stay with her and run around and run a lot of shots down. But when they both played against one another, this young lady had too much power of shot for Sanchez Vicario. But if she wasn't fit, but if you have a look through the bottom half of the draw, Date could be a problem because she runs quite well. But apart from that, Novotná I don't think can beat her. Conchita Martinez, well, I question her conditioning as far as that's concerned too.
And she's had a very good year, Conchita Martinez, but she's the 4th seed, so she's down in the bottom half with Seles. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario is up in the top half with Graf.
40-30.
Martinez has never beaten Seles, and Sanchez Vicario has beaten Seles only 1 time.
Well, terrific baseline rally there. Monica Seles comes out on top. 4 games to 1. She leads first set. There's the blimp over the city of Manhattan. The Twin Towers in there. It's a little overcast, a little smoggy in there. And the clouds around today, first time for a while. We've had terrific weather. A little cooler this Labor Day weekend than it has been. But Betsy, the players I think have enjoyed the first week here because it has not been too hot.
No, this previously in the summer we've had such very, very hot, stifling weather, but it seemed to that weather broke right before the U.S. Open started. So it's been quite a pleasure to play this year. The weather's been nice. Today is beautiful. Just waiting for spectators to be seated. Absolute packed house here.
Well, she's styling there too, Betsy, as you look at this replay, but Monica always has liked nice clothes and the nicer things of life, and she likes to be a fashion plate.
I think she's matured a lot in the last couple of years. Certainly her priorities have changed. Her perspective on life has changed. She is so happy, genuinely happy to be back playing. But that doesn't mean she still doesn't like shopping at Bloomingdale's when she gets a chance.
Yeah, that's always good. Oh, good shot. She hesitated a little bit, and a smile on the face of Yone Kamio when she makes this one. Throws up in the air, moves forward on that, catches the line. 15-30.
Twenty-three-year-old Yone Kamio. We've talked about what a good year she had. She stretched her countrywoman Kamiko Date to 3 very close sets early this year.
Boy, that's the Seles of old. You give her a short second serve, boy, you pay the price. Watch how far she gets inside here.
Well, you know that your serve is supposed to be a weapon, and it wasn't until Monica came along that she showed the world that the return of serve can be a bigger weapon. If you give Monica a look at second serves, especially one with not a lot of spin or pace, she absolutely punishes it.
Break point opportunity for Seles again. And that's what happens. So she's in pretty fine form. Kamio says, hey, I'm not used to somebody doing that, because that was rather a deep second serve, but it was just smacked for a winner. Look at this one.
Well, we'll just watch the rotation of the shoulders and hips that Seles gets. The two hands keep the arms closer to her body. That allows her to get more power.
5-1. All.
Kamio in the second round here had beaten Marianne Wardell-Whitmire. That was a good win.
That is a good win.
Yone, yeah. Remember the Australian Open earlier this year. Wardell-Whitmire had taken out Sabatini, who was the 5th seed. As we've mentioned, Kamio is enjoying her best year on the tour. She's enjoying her highest rank at number 28. And she started this year 82, so she's had a terrific year. She's been to a couple of semifinals.
Doesn't mind going for the line, Seles. She never has.
I mean, this is from training at such a young age, and she practices with such intensity.
47.
And
She'll let that one go, but it clipped the line. You think her serve's improved, Betsy? A lot of folks say,
Yeah,
hey,
I
she's
really
come
do.
back, and I think her serve's a little bit better.
yeah, I really do. I think
Because she's taller, maybe?
I think she's got more pace on it.
Game.
That one's wide, that's game, and the opening set goes to Monica Seles, 6 games to 1 in 23 minutes. The umbrella there, Monica Seles there, and interestingly, Betsy, the young lady behind
Time.
her, you've got a story about it.
Well, she is here to, she's acting as Monica's personal security guard. When she's not looking after Monica, she looks after the wife of the mayor, Rudy Giuliani. And so she's got a lot of experience, and I'm sure a few interesting stories herself.
And in there amongst the photographers, right behind Monica there. So you see that security has been increased, and Seles has taken advantage of that situation. The USTA have been very good about it, and it's just been quietly done, as it has been done over the past couple of years with the top players, and getting them to court. Whilst they're on court, and now Seles has shown us that she's back in top form. 6-1 that opening set, with Kamio now serving in set number 2. What do you think's going through this young lady's mind? Not Monica Seles, but Kamio at this stage. She's lost the first set 6-1, didn't do a bad job.
Well, you know, she started off very nervously. It is her first appearance on a stadium court at any Grand Slam. Even though she has had some pretty good results, she's never been in front of this many people. This is the first time she's ever played a current #1 ranked player.
It's a very intimidating court, this one too, because it is the largest of the slams. It holds just on 20,000 people, and it's not quite full, but not far from it. Down there, and you look up the side of the court, you think, oh my heavens.
Got it right in the line. Kamio just has a look and a smile. Kamio's problem is that she plays so similarly to Monica. She does everything that Monica does, just not as good.
That's it.
So she can stay in some points, but she's not coming out the winner of that many of them.
15-40. Two break points. Watch out. Just too good. She can change direction with that. Instead of going cross court, goes back in behind her opponent. She has the early break in the second set. Well, the story of the 95 US Open has revolved around this young lady, her comeback to tennis after being out of the sport for some 2.5 years. And it is a packed house here on the Labor Day weekend, the Saturday, first day of the holiday weekend. And the crowd have come out to see Monica Seles, and don't go away, because after this, you talk about crowd pleasers, we have the #1 player in the world, Andre Agassi. Who does he play? Stefan Edberg, past champion here. But this is the story of the championships, the fact that Monica Seles has come back to play in the Open.
15 love.
And if she can keep the points that short, she's not going to get too tight.
Well, on the one hand, short matches are very good for Seles because of her knee. But on the other hand, it's good to have a tight, close match under your belt at least once, especially in a major event like this.
Well, the Canadian Open was a pretty tough event. As you mentioned, 7 of the top 10 players, but she didn't have to play. She beat Sabatini, 6-love, 6-1, as you look at the just pace of shot from Seles. But I'm sure she'd like to have one that took her to the third set, just to test her out, to see how her resolve was when she got into tight situations.
The closest match, I think, and the best match that she has played so far, including the Canadian, was in the quarterfinals there against Anke Huber, who's 10 in the world.
40 love.
Game 7.
Good swinging serve, good pace on that one. 90 miles an hour on that slider out to the two-fisted backhand. So an early break in set number 2. And we've seen Monica Seles smiling a lot more. She's applauding her opponent's winners. So really enjoying the fact that she is back playing the game that she so loves. 2-love.
She takes a swing at it. That one just missing. I think one of the things that Seles does so extremely well is to play the ball. It really doesn't matter who's on the other side. She's so strong in the mental department. She's such a tremendous competitor, and she absolutely detests losing. She doesn't do much of that, but she sure doesn't like it.
How about the grunt, Betsy? That's come back with it.
Yeah, you know, Monica did not play one match or even one practice set, as she rarely does. So I think it's just so instinctive when she gets out there on the court. Her concentration is so good. Her focus is so good that just happens automatically.
So what you're saying is when she had the break, she just didn't play any tennis.
She practiced, but she didn't play sets and matches, and
just hit balls.
Just hit a lot of balls. And actually, she didn't really hit that many. There were patches that Monica went through when she really couldn't practice, whether it was the knee. I know at one point she had a little problem with her foot. So she'd work very hard for a week, and then she'd have to take a little rest. So she wasn't at all satisfied with the amount of work she's put in before this championships.
$40-15 for Kamio, a chance to get on the board in the second set. Seles leads a set and 2-love. That one's wide, so a smile comes onto the face of this young lady as she holds serve. It's 2-1, Seles leads. Well, out on grandstand court, Zina Garrison-Jackson is continuing on her winning ways. She has taken out Nicole Arendt, 6-love, 7-6. You might remember she caused the first upset of the championships, taking out Lindsay Davenport on Stadium Court a few days ago. So good work for Zina Garrison-Jackson, who at one stage was contemplating giving up the game. She wanted to retire and have a family. But a couple of wins under your belt, and that'll keep you working and staying in. So she decided not to do that as we come back on Stadium Court here with Seles against Kamio. 2-1. Seles leads second set.
Seles has been so good at that play right there. Wrong footing, Kamio.
15 love.
That is her 13th winner from Seles. And it's just so hard to pick up because she can go either way.
Yeah, it's not as though you can say, well, this one's going cross-court, or you can watch the head of the racket as a lot of the players do, because she goes with the one cross-court or the one away from the body with exactly the same motion. And it's a very quick motion.
I think there's going to be a time that Seles will start to move forward. There were 2 opportunities in that point just played then where Seles was just behind the service line, and then she
Hasn't gone in,
retreated.
yeah.
But you know, she's
Have you talked to her about that?
Yeah, she now see, there's 2 things. There's 2 areas of Seles's game that I think she really wants to improve in. And when she wants to do something, she accomplishes it. It's the serve, and she's already done that. And it's attacking the net more. She really desperately wants to win Wimbledon. The only Grand Slam she has not won yet. She won the Australian 3 times, the French 3 times, the US twice. And she realizes that her ground strokes allow her to play aggressively.
Seles wins that game, 3-1, the second set. Betsy, does she feel as though she's going to become a good volleyer or just an adequate volleyer? Because off the ground, she's not going to miss too many returns of serve at Wimbledon. She's going to put them under pressure, but she feels she's got to be able to finish that shot off, huh?
Right. I think her thinking is that she needs to be a great volleyer. And she doesn't, because all she needs is a finishing volley, because she's so deadly with any ball left in the middle of the court.
Well, Agassi proved that, didn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
I would say a good volleyer, but he's not a great volleyer. He's an adequate volleyer, but he goes in behind some good stuff. When you go in behind a good approach shot, you really don't find that you're digging around the shoelaces to try and make volleys.
Yeah, it makes the volley so much simpler. Seles has such great hands that I think she could pick it up so well. It just needs practice. She needs to do it in matches so that she feels comfortable doing it. Seles has hit the ball very, very well, but I have a feeling at the end of this match she might be a little disappointed in a number of unforced errors. Kamio is doing a good job of running around the court, getting a lot of balls back in play. Seles has a couple of more unforced errors than winners. I think she's got 13 winners now, 15 unforced errors.
$15-30.
Seles quick to pick up this let cord. And again, because she keeps her hands, 2 hands on the racket, you can see that she's forced to get close to the ball, and because of that, she can control it. And if she can get there quick enough, she can play a winner like that.
15-40.
Having 2 hands off both sides demands your movement around the court to be quicker. And that's why she lately has decided that on her forehand, occasionally she has dropped the other hand so that she has a little bit more reach.
Missed it.
Juice.
As you mentioned, Betsy, she doesn't like to miss those.
No.
Figured she had this one.
In fact, that one just got up a little bit higher, I think, than Monica would have preferred. She likes taking it right around that hitting zone, right across the waist.
Juice. The problem with the sun there, you could see the ball tossed there and the sun right on Kamio's face. Tough end to serve from at this time of the day. 2:35 local time. And that's possibly the reason for the double fault. So a break point now for Seles.
Kamio doing a good job saving 3 break points here on her serve.
Seles didn't quite get to that one. Whether it's the knee, a bit of a problem, but at full stretch, one of the few occasions that has happened to her today. So advantage now for Kamio, a game point. Well played point.
One of the best points Kamio has played in this match. He was dictating from the shot 1 in that point. Got some good angles, stretched Seles out. You can see how far out of court Seles is.
At the end of that point, Monica knows how the other girls feel when they play her.
Yeah, you play Monica, and it's a real test in your endurance, your speed. Oh, that's a great point there. You saw then Seles with the one-handed forehand. As a big smile comes across her face. This is the best game in the match, and that's a very important added element, I think, to the Seles game. And the finishing one here, you can just see how she leaps into the ball. So it's back to deuce.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Betsy. Kamio has played a pretty good match here, and she's won some points and played some great stuff, but there's not much on the board to show for it.
Yeah, it's just
Tough when you play Seles.
It's unfortunate for her because she has such a good game. She's just been moving steadily up the ranks, and then she comes up against someone who does everything she does similarly. And they both hit the ball very hard, very early. Just Seles does it so much better.
That'll do it for a service break there. So Seles playing some pretty good stuff now. 4 games to 1, second set. Packed house here on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend here in New York. You see the TV trucks there. They take all the pictures from our friends at USA Network and CBS right around the world. And of course, the folks in Japan are interested in this one. To come back to Monica Seles, then they're playing against Yone Kamio. And Kamio had a tough time that last game, had a game point, but right now it's all Seles at 4 games to 1. I'm Fred Stolle along with Betsy Nagelson bringing you the live action here. We're going to be here through till Sunday week when the men's singles final is played. Super Saturday, the women's final, and the 2 men's semi-finals. And you just seen the Yankee Huber score there, where she took out Elena Makarova in 3 sets, 6-1 in the third. Was in a bit of trouble in the second set. She's through to the next round and will play Monica Seles if Seles gets through this one. And you mentioned earlier, Betsy, that that was the toughest match that Seles played up in Canada, was against Anki Huber.
Double fault there from Seles. Yeah, Huber is a very tough opponent. I mean, she plays similarly again to Seles. She hits the ball very hard off both sides. She gets a lot of power. She tries to dictate points.
When it gets to the point of again, as you mentioned, Monica's fitness, or if she can wrong foot Anki Huber, because Anki is, I don't think is as quick as this girl.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Kamio is much faster than Huber on the court. But I think Huber has a little
more pace of shot, yeah. A little more variety, possibly.
Yes, I mean, she does have some more variety. A little more spin on the ball. Seles likes the ball coming at her at the same, right across the plate, so to speak. And if you players that can get you out of your rhythm, and not give you the same look at the ball, have a better chance against someone who likes pace, which Seles does.
Well, a couple of unforced errors, a double fault, and now a missed backhand. It opens the door a little bit for Kamio. It's a break point opportunity. Just missed. Again, a tremendous rally and a very sweet smile there from Yone Kamio, but we're back at deuce. That's one of the very few breakpoint opportunities she has had. Put 1 game on the board in the first set, but it's been a very entertaining match.
You just have to hit so many good shots to win 1 point against Seles. Seles has never been considered a great mover, but I think she moves very well. It's very deceptive because you have to move well when you have 2 hands off both sides.
I think she also anticipates the 2. That's the make of a champion too. When she hits that cross-court ball, she knows the percentages, whether they're going to go down the line or cross-court. Sometimes they may wrong foot her, but she has so much pace of shot that she pretty much knows what's going to happen on that next point, that next stroke of the rally. Game point now, Seles. Pushed wide, trying to be aggressive. Kamio, so Seles 5 games to 1. It's been a fabulous moment for this young lady. As you mentioned, Betsy, first time ever on a stadium court, Grand Slam. She did well at Wimbledon, did okay at the Australian Open. And to be on Centre Stadium here at the US Open is going to be a big thrill for her. Something that she'll remember for the rest of her tennis playing life.
15 love.
Well, thought I'd hit a good first serve, she said, and boom.
15.
Hardly finished the swing.
Well, it was right there for Monica. It's only 82 miles per hour, and pace does not affect Seles at all.
15:30. You know, my impressions here at the moment, I think Seles is working not as close to the lines as she will be as this tournament progresses. She's quite prepared to get into the mood and into the swing of things by keeping the ball in the safer areas of the court, not really going for the lines because she's not too sure of the accuracy situation at the moment. I think she's going to even get better. Making rallies like that, she just gets there. They're all in a safe area. She's doing very well with it, but I think she'll take a few more risks. Crowd very appreciative of both players out here. Not only Seles, who's all smiles at the moment, but they've seen some very nice rallies from Yone Kamio, and she is now down a couple of match points.
Game 7.
And there it is, just too much power, too much experience, and too much game for Monica Seles against Yone Kamio, and a very sweet smile there from the young player from Japan as Monica Seles all smiles herself, and the crowd really enjoyed a very pleasant match, Betsy.
Well, I think it was good tennis. I think Seles has to feel good about striking a lot of balls very, very cleanly. I think your assessment is completely accurate, and I think the more matches Seles can play against players who do strike the ball as nicely as Kamio, she'll begin to feel more confident hitting closer to the lines, because if once she gets up against Conchita Martinez, or in the semifinals, if she gets that far against Graf in the finals, she'll need to be playing very, very accurately. But a great tournament for Yone Kamio, and I think terrific for Japanese tennis, period.
Now, Seles there, as Kamio comes off the court, Betsy, Seles signed a lot of autographs there. She's not worried or concerned about that, because she loves the fans, and after every match she goes over there. All it is an MS, but the kids love to get that, don't they?
Yes, and she's been very, very gracious with her time, really throughout this comeback